Hello everyone, I hope everyone is doing well today. Today we're going to be looking at the topic of free speech, cancel cultures, and the laws associated with them. To begin, let's take a look at the question for today. So our question today is, what factors contribute to the prevalence of cancel culture and the limitations on free speech in contemporary societies compared to societies in the past? Firstly, let's define our terms. Free speech. Free speech refers to the right that allows individuals to express their ideas and their beliefs on specific topics, like topics of abortion, for instance. This often is seen within democratic societies. Places like Canada, for example, who support individuals that want to express their personal perspectives on a specific topic. Conversely, cancel culture. This is heard more of in the recent years. This refers to the term boycotting an individual based on their specific point of view. This boycotting takes place because somebody may have perceived their action as offensive or disrespectful. But why is freedom of speech so important? Understanding the importance of free speech is knowing that without the freedom of speech in societies, it can lead to troubled responses due to something called groupthink. For instance, this is how some war attacks or invasions take place as a result of groupthink. Understanding freedom of speech is also knowing its limitations. Within some places around the world, they have placed limitations on how much expression an individual can have. Some places around the world have created laws against something called hate speech. Hate speech, this refers to the prevention of an individual's expression of discrimination or harm against another person or any violence against another individual. Let's take a look at this article by Eleanor Brooks. This article is titled, "Why is Freedom of Speech Important in Democracy?" And the 5 reasons Eleanor Brooks has created within this article. So let's quickly go over the 5 reasons that Eleanor Brooks had created. It allows for truth, it allows for accountability, initiates participation, it allows for minorities to speak out, and it puts forth change. Now let's go over 3, 4, and 5. So initiates participation. It allows citizens to show their freedom and allows for positive change. For instance, attending protests. This allows for positive change. It allows individuals to speak out on what they believe in, and that basically shows their freedom, their ability to go on the street, stand with friends or acquaintances, and speak up for what they believe in. And if we go over number 4, it allows for minorities to speak out. We often don't hear about children speaking on big social issues. Due to this, their points aren't actually being heard or represented. And it puts forth change. It allows individuals to take action and decide on social issues. Social issues, just even who do we want to vote for as prime minister, or who do we want to vote for as our president, and etc. Now, taking a look at the quotation drawn from the article, this is written by Eleanor Brooks in the year 2022. This quotation states, "In 2000, freedom of expression was enshrined as a fundamental right in Article 11 of the Charter Fundamental Rights of the European Union. Everyone has the right to freedom of expression. This right shall include freedom to hold opinions and to receive and impart information and ideas without interference of public authority and regardless of frontiers. The freedom and pluralism of the media shall be respected." So now that we looked at the freedom of speech, why it's important, what it means, let's now move topics to cancel culture. So what is the prevalence of cancel culture? Cancel culture is not a new topic within today's society, but because of social media, it has been brought up significantly. Social media serves as a reactant. It amplifies and goes against individuals' offensive behavior. Social media has increased the spread of information. So when an individual is canceled, that term, online, it is quickly spread and starts gaining others' attention. For instance, many people know of the app TikTok. It is one of the methods of social media that spreads information around the world. Influencers often get quote unquote canceled when others disagree or find their actions offensive. Now that we know what cancel culture is about in the slightest, let's touch now upon of what cancel culture causes. So, cancel culture causes a fear of backlash. This is often leading to self-censoring. The fear of backlash is large in the topic of cancel culture. Influencers and public figures, they tread cautiously on specific topics, and they have self-censoring to avoid controversies and to protect their reputation. Many celebrities actually have trainers to help them filter through their responses to prevent backlash and to prevent their reputation from getting affected. So self-censorship weakens the validity of public opinion, and it suppresses innovation and the diversity of thought. This limits the freedom of speech in today's society, as individuals are very concerned on the repercussions of their point of view and what it may have. So it actually silences them. In comparison to back in the day, individuals were not as concerned about backlash because social media was not as big or not as common. Information was only really spread based off of word of mouth. So, for example, the topic of abortion, just using that as an example because it's a big social issue in today's society in modern day, and many celebrities haven't really talked about it. They haven't talked about their opinion, only some of them, of the topic of abortion. And this is highly controversial, and it can affect their reputation if those don't agree. If other people don't agree with their point of view, and it can actually cause a big uproar. So, in addition, looking at another big topic of influencing, of limitations of freedom of speech, is cultural sensitivity. So, although it is good for citizens to express their cultural understanding, it can lead to a sensitivity if their expression of the culture is perceived as offensive. So, it can lead to cancel culture if the individual is being canceled in this sense. When being canceled, the individuals can face backlash for violating specific cultural traditions or practices. And now with social media, it can be published on the web and then it can go viral, and the whole world will now see this and then have an opinion on it. In addition to this now can lead to psychological effects. So cancel culture often constitutes in public harassment against another individual. This has been seen more and more now online. If you look at specific social issue videos on TikTok, if you go into the comment section, you can see how much people can start attacking others within comment sections. This has led individuals being afraid to be targeted online or participate in controversial topics or conversations, as it can lead to a significant amount of public shaming, leading to self-censorship and then pulling away from the media. And this limits the freedom of speech because now people are afraid, and it brings it back to the fear of backlash. Taking a look at this next article by the PubMed Central. Within this article, this was sectioned into two parts. Part 2 of this article specifically discusses the decline in the freedom of expression. This article explains how individuals don't participate within society anymore, making communities feel very much less connected and often isolated. Within this section, it also explains how expression is in connection to personal happiness and well-being of others and the overall importance of democracy in society. So moving forward, taking a look at the quotation drawn from the article by PubMed Central, it states that otherwise when people cannot express themselves, perhaps out of fear not from war, but from different kinds of social pressure or violence exerted by some lobbies, mass media, or governmental policies that are at odds with respect for plurality of opinions, vulnerability arises. This weakens not only those individuals that are not allowed to express their thoughts, but also those who do not dare to do it, or even not think for themselves. Under certain environmental pressures exerted by states, international organizations, social media, or financial groups, lobbies, etc., in the end, the decline of freedom of expression, makes most people more vulnerable and jeopardizes the whole democratic system. This was quoted in 2023 by the Public Med Central. Going into a little bit of a description on what that quotation means, it kind of ties in everything with the fear of backlash. The vulnerability, the feeling isolated. It kind of touches upon the cultural sensitivity as well, and that psychological effect. It kind of ties everything that we just spoke about together within one quotation. Now let's touch on a topic. Let's branch out for a moment. We didn't really touch upon the meaning of this. It's the topic of the legality of speech and how it's changed over time, and the topic of hate speech. So freedom of speech has been protected from something called hate speech. Around the world, there are laws set in place to protect speech and prevents hate speech from taking place. Hate speech refers to, or is known as, discrimination or violence against another individual. This law that is created in some places around the world prevents this from taking place. It protects others from harm and harassment. Well, this is positive. This has also contributed to the self-censorship and the limit of expression, especially on social media. If we take it back to TikTok, Instagram, all the social medias, when somebody publishes something online, their opinion, their own freedom of expression, freedom of speech, and it is now being attacked, and it is now having hateful comments, harassment, and threats, this pushes the individual away from wanting to do that again. So in addition to cancel culture, identity-based cancellation is one of the leading reasons why individuals are getting canceled online right now. This refers to individuals getting canceled because of their race, their gender, or more commonly right now, their sexual orientation. This has been becoming more prevalent on media platforms like TikTok, in the comment section of people's videos. This has been a new topic in today's society. Sexual orientation, many individuals getting criticized and shamed based on the way that they're identifying in society. So let's conclude and summarize everything that we just spoke about. So from back in the day compared to the contemporary societies today, freedom of speech has declined due to the actions of cancel culture. The limitations on free speech stems from social media, the fear of backlash and harassment, cultural sensitivity, and the psychological effects that cancel culture has on an individual. Over the years, the freedom of speech has evolved by the creation of laws to protect others from hate speech and harassment, of violence and discrimination. But in the recent years, identity-based cancellation has become more and more common due to the media. Now, although all of the information in this video has concluded, I do want to leave you with a few questions to think about moving forward. The first question is, how can we encourage more of a connected society where we can speak freely without hate or discrimination? The second question is, in what ways can social media be improved to protect others from harassment, so you can feel more comfortable speaking freely online? And then the last question is, do you feel you can speak freely in your point of view on leading social issues in the world? Thank you so much for listening to this presentation on freedom of speech, cancel culture, the laws, and how it's evolved over time, as well as why cancel culture is more prevalent right now and why freedom of speech is limited.